a special broadcast on Times Network. Andhra Pradesh is gearing up for Global Investor Summit 2023, and I have a very special guest with me who is actually the force behind this summit. I have with us Andhra Pradesh's Industry Minister Shri Amarnath. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on Times Network. And I'm sure the state is gearing up for the summit, and you have been working so hard on it for months now. How is it shaping up?
See, probably this will have a special attention because it's happening after the COVID situations. After YS Jagan Garu came into power in 2019, we thought of hosting a global investment summit probably in 2020. But that couldn't happen because of the COVID. 2020 we had COVID, 2021 we had COVID. Even 2022, the initial parts, like in January, February, we have the third wave of COVID as well. So, we thought of hosting it in 2023. So in 2023, when we thought of hosting it, we have selected some specific sectors and all. But during this time, all the states
have been
came up.
hosting. Yeah.
They have been hosting it because everyone was looking for pitching of investments in all the sectors. So probably we thought this was a good time to host the Global Investment Summit. It's gearing up good. It's all arrangements in place. Mostly by tomorrow, we'll be all set for the event.
Right. Now, obviously, the state has been working on the new industrial policy also. And, we all know the ranking of Andhra in the ease of doing business and how investor and industry friendly the state is. So, what are the key areas that you are focusing on in the new industrial policy?
See, the old industrial policy was between 2020 and this March 31st, 2023. We are coming up with the new 2023-2028 policy. The last policy was only for 3 years period, and the new one is coming up for a period of 5 years. Because any industrial policy, what Chief Minister thought was it should be at least a period of 5 years for the economical situations or any other industry coming up. If you have any policy every 2 years or 3 years, it doesn't look good. And probably the policy which is coming after the COVID situations, where all the states are concentrating on investments. But we have our own personal strengths, so we should look at the state finances, resources also, because we can't only give incentives or some other special packages or special incentives or something like that, which is beyond our hands or the state's revenue. So what Chief Minister's thought process is, what resources we have, what kind of investments we can bring in. It's totally a basic discussion was the major industrial development or the growth that has to happen in the state is only because of the revenue generation to the state. And the other hand, it's the employment generation. So we took two special cases. One with big industrial investments coming in, and the second one is the employment coming in. So if anybody comes with a minimum of 2,000 employment, we have a special case of incentives. In some cases, when the technology has totally transformed, where we have sophisticated machinery coming down, where the manpower is coming down. So we don't need for the new industries coming down. We don't have machinery which has to be operated by a person. So the sophisticated technologies came. You can use it through the mobile. You can use it through your system, your iPads or something like that. So in some cases where we need more employment. So if a person who comes with an employment of minimum of 2,000, we have a tailor-made incentives. We have special incentives for the MSMEs. We are coming up with special incentives for the SC/ST entrepreneurs who were the backward people, and the region-wise. We are looking at a policy where we have 3 different regions in Andhra Pradesh, where we call the North Coastal Andhra, the Coastal Andhra, and the Rayalaseema. So we have different resources in each of the part of the state. So basing on those resources and basing on the situation of the social growth of the people and all, we are making a conducive policy where it will bring employment as well as investment to the state of Andhra Pradesh.
Right. Obviously, there are some core sectors on which state is focusing, and Andhra excels in few sectors. Now, not only from summit point of view, but even from growth perspective, which are the key sectors which can turn out to be game changers for the state?
Basically, when we thought of conducting the Global Investment Summit, Chief Minister's directions was focus on only those sectors where we can pitch in investment, or what resources we have, or where an investor can come down, see, oh, we have these resources in this state, we have these facilities, these infrastructure facilities we have in the state. And basing on these aspects, we have identified 14 sectors. The major one is the aerospace and the defense sector, where now all the states are looking at, because we have huge investments in the aerospace and the defense sector. We are close to Chennai, we are close to Bangalore, where the aerospace, this thing is happening more of in Bangalore. So we have a cluster in Anantapur where we can pitch in aerospace and defense sectors. In Kurnool, we have a wide land spread where we can pitch in this aerospace industrial activity. And we have the agriculture and the food processing sector, where we call the rice bowl of the country, Andhra Pradesh. We have papaya, major producer of papaya. We are the major producer of cocoa. We are major producer of pineapple, mango pulp. So we are strong in different sectors. Anyways, in the wheat and all, we are always a leading one of the state in the country. So agriculture and food processing, aerospace and defense, health and medical equipment. We one of the only medtech zone where we manufacture the medical equipment. Only state in the country to have this AMTZ is Andhra Pradesh. And we are the one who supplied these ventilators during peak COVID times. We almost supplied 1 lakh ventilators during the COVID period from Visakhapatnam, from the AMTZ. From the medical equipment, we go to pharmaceuticals and the pharma sector. We have infrastructure where we are building up new ports and where we can create industrial, port-led industrial development. We have hospitality and tourism. Could have seen Visakhapatnam or some other places in the state where we have Gandikota, which is like a Grand Canyon. So in tourism and hospitality, we have education and skilling. So we have selected almost handlooms and textiles, which is a major employment creator in the state, and we have skilled manpower as well. We have 70%, almost 70% of working age group in the state. So these are the 14 sectors we are focusing at, where we can pitch in the major investment, and the major one is the renewable energy. Renewable energy is the, for renewable energy, Andhra Pradesh would be the major hub in the country, because we have that geographical advantages for the solar, for the wind, for the new pump storage. We have the world's biggest, we have integrated renewable energy project, where you have solar, wind, and as well as the pump storage of almost 5.2 gigawatts in Kurnool, which in the last year, May, Honorable Chief Minister laid the foundation. So renewable energy is the major sector we would be focusing at for the investment in the coming GIS.
Right. So also, I think because there is so much focus on, making things in India and making for the world, apart from for the Indian consumption. Obviously, electronics is one segment where each state is trying to excel. You have a natural advantage because one is being one of the longest coastline, the ports which are here, and the global connect that you have, besides state being gateway to Southeast Asia. So what is your expectation from this sector?
See, electronics, we are I think we are the only state with 4 electronic manufacturing clusters. We have 2 in Tirupati, 1 in Sri City, and 1 in Kopati, which is the home district of the Honorable Chief Minister. We have 4 EMCs where the major companies like TCL, who makes the displays for the TVs. Yeah. In the electronic sector, we have the CC cameras manufacturing unit in Tirupati, the CP Plus, where we have the major leading CC camera manufacturer. And we are the ones who manufacture these wearables and durables for hearables for all the major companies like Samsung, Apple, Xiaomi. We have some other major brands. So we have Sona Opotec, where we manufacture the mobile cameras. Mobile cameras are being manufactured in Tirupati. We have these, the cables. Yeah. Cables for the earphones, cables for the charging of the mobile phones. So we are the biggest probably biggest in the country. Almost manufacture one mobile phone every second in the state. So almost 30 million mobile phones every month, I think. So in the recent time, the semiconductor investments, which is a huge investment in the country as well as in the world as of now. So we are focusing at semiconductor investors to come down to Andhra Pradesh, and in the electrical vehicle sector also, where the e-causes mobility, where they come up for manufacturing electric buses in the state. So they are setting up a plant in Koparthi in Kadapa district. So we have the TCL, which is one of the largest in China, the TCL plant with almost 2,000 crores they have invested, and recently CM has inaugurated the plant. Foxlinks is there, Dixon. So you have different kinds of electronic manufacturing sectors in the state as already in place. And we have these ACs, Panasonic, Blue Star, CP Plus, as I've said, in the CC camera sector. So in Sri City we have the electronic manufacturing clusters, Tirupati we have, in Koparthi. So probably we'll be the gateway to the Southeast Asia, either to Singapore, Thailand, Japan, Korea, China, anywhere probably on the eastern part of the country of India. Probably Andhra Pradesh would be the gateway for these business activities.
That reminds me about the exports, because we have seen that Andhra has been consistently witnessing, rapid increase in the exports compared to rest of the country, or if you look at the average. Now, how do we sustain this?
See, it depends on the environment created by the government and the support created by the government, support given by the government, and as well as the industrial activity that is being done in all the different districts of the state. See, Andhra Pradesh is probably, if you take Telangana, the major exports would be IT.
Correct.
Other than IT, probably some of the pharma sectors or some other sectors would be their major. If you go to Bangalore also, it's the same. So, but when you come to Andhra Pradesh, we had almost $1.19 billion exports in 21-22, which is almost close to 1.45 lakh crores. When you divide these exports, you have exports in marine, we have exports in agriculture-based products, we have exports in pharma, we have exports in bulk drug, we have exports in these, fruits. So we have exports in IT as well. Probably it might be a smaller amount, but we are a part of, it's also a part of the export, this thing. So when you have a beautiful environment in the state, where there is a stable governance and support from the leader himself. So definitely this will rapidly increase. We had almost 15.8% growth of exports when compared with the last year's growth. Probably this year it would reach more. So these activities, these support given by the government, by the leader, and from the people surrounding, or the industries surrounded by different people. So these would be a major support to sustain this export growth in the state.
Right. So also, I think what is very important is, like you rightly said, focusing on employment. Now, I understand that the state has already approved investments to the tune of almost 2 lakh crores in last 3.5 years. It will obviously have impact on investments, on employment. And then the investor summit would generate, lakhs of investment. I think the challenge which usually all states face is between converting those MOUs into actual on-ground action. How are you going to ensure that?
See, I'll compare, because in the previous regime, for 5 years after the state separated, the previous government conducted almost 4 or 5 investment summits. I don't go to the numbers, but the investment, the announced investments or the MOUs done by the government was around 18 to 20 lakh crores.
Correct.
But the conversion rate is not even 10%. The conversion rate is not even 10%. But we didn't have any summits before. But in the recent 3.5 years, we had a lot of MOUs went with the industrialists. But our conversion rate is 89%.
Wow, 89%.
89%.
That must be a record, I think.
See, it will obviously be a record. So that's the reason why Honorable Chief Minister continuously tells us in the industrial meetings, or as well as the review meetings, or else in the Global Investment Summit when when we thought of conducting it, what CM said was, tell only those investments which are going to be realized. Don't showcase those MOUs. Don't tell them it's 20 lakh crores, 30 lakh crores, 15 lakh crores, which is not going to be realized. Even though if it is 2 lakh crores, even though if it is 3 lakh crores, see that 90% of it is realized. So that should be the target. So we can't say that it's going to be 100% realization. Probably in some cases or some business activities or some industrial issues, some may be dropped out or their financial issues may be hurdles to them. So we can't promise to the people that these are, suppose if in the Global Investment Summit, the investment MOUs would be 3 lakh crores. We won't promise that 3 lakh crores would be our realized investment. But at least 2.5 lakh crores would be invested, that would be our realized investment. So this is a point where Andhra Pradesh has set a record in the recent 3.5 years. In the last 3.5 years, our MOU conversion rate is almost 89%. In the Global Investment Summit also, it's going to be the same conversion rate or more than that, not going to be less than that.
That sounds interesting. In fact, I was, if we look at the theme also, and there is a line that where abundance meets prosperity. So, can you define this abundance and prosperity? What is the correlation?
When an industrialist comes to the state, what makes him interesting is what is the strengths of the state. We are the second largest coastline in the country. Probably Gujarat may be the longest coastline, but the most usable coastline is Andhra Pradesh. Because we don't have any hurdles or different...
it's a straight coast.
Straight coast, 974 kilometers straight coast. We are the 8th largest state in the country. We are almost 70% working age group is there in the state. We are as I've said, the top we contribute to the exports to the country in the 5th place. We are almost exporting up to a number of 1,44,000 crores. So with all these in different sectors, when you take Srikakulam, which is the northern part of the state, we are good at cashew, we are good at granite. When you come to Srikakulam, we are good at mango. When you come to Visakhapatnam, we have the biggest and the most leading port. We have one port which holds by the government of India, and the other private port, which is the deepest port in the country. And when you have the industrial growth over here, we have a lot of PSUs in Visakhapatnam. When you go to East Godavari, you have agriculture. When you go to West Godavari, you have the same abundant water you have. And when you go to Krishna and Guntur districts, we have Michi, we have all the agriculture-based products available over there. When you go to Ongole, you have the biggest granite producer of the country, the Chemakutti and different, where you get black granite, where you get white granite, you get all colors of granite in that district. When you go to Chittor, we have different resources. When you go to Kadapa, you have different resources. And you name any district in the state, they have their different advantages. And we have those abundant resources. And we have tribal districts in the state, the Alluri Sitaramraju district and the Manyam district, where you produce the largest cocoa in the country. Even the Cadbury, Cadbury is manufactured in Andhra Pradesh, In Sri City, the Cadbury chocolates are being manufactured and get major part of the cocoa from the same state itself. To other states also, the cocoa is being exported from Andhra Pradesh. 70% of cocoa is being exported from Andhra Pradesh, only from one district. So that is the abundance we have. We have abundant ports. We are coming up with abundant fishing harbors. We have abundant infrastructure. We have abundant land bank. We are the only state with 3 industrial corridors. Out of 11 being developed in the country, only state to have 3 industrial corridors is Andhra Pradesh. On these 3 industrial corridors, we have 48,000 acres of industrial land readily available for allotment for industrialists. We have ready to build facilities with the state government where we lease the ready built facilities for the industrial purposes, in which the lease amount would be very negotiable and handy for the industries to come down. For the agriculture and food processing units, we have ready built sheds with the machinery in place. So every single district in the state, we have different resources with abundant opportunities. And when you come down as an industrialist or an investor to the state, and you'll definitely prosper. So that's the reason why we have named a Global Investment Summit or Andhra Pradesh, where abundance meets prosperity.
Right. One last question, sir. And, because it's end of the day, like you rightly said, one is the conversion. Second is also the kind of MOUs which are signed or the kind of large companies who participate. So what is your expectation from that point?
See, our target by the CM was 2 lakh crores, the initial target. Probably by the grace of the God, blessings of the people, and support of the industrialists from different parts of the country and as well as globally. As I've said, the topmost industrialists from all over the country are coming down. Globally, yesterday, even the European Union Chamber of Commerce have tweeted that we are showing interest and we're coming down to the Global Investment Summit. Almost 20 to 22 ambassadors, different parts of the world are coming. So the initial target given by the Honorable Chief Minister to us is 2 lakh crores. So we'll start with 2 lakh crores, and as I've said, blessings of the God and with industrialist support, we'll definitely try to achieve the major investment to the state, which would be realized and which would bring revenue to the state and as well as create employment to lakhs of people in the state as well.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, and wish you all the best for the summit.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.